you speak about this issue properly, and what you really have is, now that it's been terminated, you have a tremendous power to negotiate something that's fair for everybody. But nobody wants to see babies killed, but nobody wants to see them killed in the fourth and fifth.
We love Erie. We've been winning Erie right from the beginning. You know, Erie used to be a Democrat stronghold until we came along. It's no longer. It's a Republican. It's a Trump stronghold. We love Erie. We love you people, hardworking people. I'm thrilled to be back in the beautiful Commonwealth of Pennsylvania with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. For 7 years, you and I have been fighting side by side to rescue our nation from the sinister forces who truly hate it and want to destroy it. And some of those are from within. We do know that. We do know that. Now we're approaching the most important battle of our lives. With your help, we are going to win the Pennsylvania primary very easily, actually. And we're going to evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House. We're going to take back our country, and we're going to make America great again. And we're going to evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House. We're going to take back our country, and we're going to make America great again. Under Biden, millions of illegal aliens have trespassed across our borders. It's been an invasion. This has been an invasion. Millions and millions of people. The middle class is being decimated by horrific inflation. Pennsylvania energy workers are being brutalized by Biden's destructive Green New Deal. Green New Deal. Green New Deal will destroy our country. Savage criminals are being set loose in Democrat-run cities while innocent Republicans are being viciously persecuted. Men are competing in women's sports. Can you believe that? Not anymore. Not anymore. Day one, that'll end. And the worst and most incompetent president of all time is stumbling us right into the brink of nuclear war. You know that's happening. I said that a long time ago. That's happening. But all of that ends when we win a crushing victory on November 5th, 2024. On day one of my new administration, I will seal the border. And by the way, we want people to come in, but they have to come in legally. Legally. I will save the economy, I will purge the deep state, and I will prevent World War III, which is where we're headed. You can't even put two sentences together. Joe Biden is the most corrupt president in American history. The Biden's colossal scams, money laundering, and criminality make Hillary Clinton look like a very beautiful angel. Just think of what he's been revealed to have done in just the last few weeks alone. A really great guy, Chairman James Comer and Senator Chuck Grassley, and working with some of the finest people, they really are. Jim Jordan, so many fine people. Released a bombshell FBI document laying out a massive bribery scheme in which Hunter and Joe Biden shook down a Ukrainian energy boss. Shook him down, an energy boss, a big one, for $10 million so that, as the executive said, Hunter could protect us through his dad from all kinds of problems. Well, can you imagine if I did that one? That wouldn't work out too well. It was also revealed this week that Hunter's business partner, witness Hunter, put foreign business associates on the phone with Crooked Joe at least 24 times. Let's see what happens with that. Including with the corrupt Ukrainian energy company that Joe claimed he knew absolutely nothing about. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about my son's business. My son's business? Remember during the debate, I said, what about your son's business? What about China? Nothing to do with China. They took in millions. But so much more money pours in, and Joe, he knew all about it. It was a big lie. That was the big lie. This is the biggest scandal in U.S. history and perhaps the world, and yet the media doesn't want to report on it. The fake news right over there. They don't want to report on it. Prices pretty soon. The Bidens got millions of dollars from Ukraine. Now Ukraine gets billions and billions of dollars from the American taxpayer. Joe Biden is compromised. He's dragging us into a global conflict on behalf of the very same country, Ukraine, that apparently paid his family all of these millions of dollars. In light of this information, the U.S. Congress should refuse to authorize a single additional payment of our depleted stockpiles. Did you see last week? Last week, he said, we have no ammunition. The United States, I rebuilt the military. We had so much ammunition. We had to buy massive storage bins for it. It's almost gone. First of all, that shouldn't have happened. But who would release that? Who would say that? That was classified information, wasn't it, huh? But the weapons stockpiles to Ukraine until the FBI, DOJ, and IRS hand over every scrap of evidence they have or the Biden crime family's corrupt business dealings. We have to know, and the public deserves to know. In addition, Congress should immediately vote to block Joe Biden's recent call-up of reserve forces. We're sending now troops over to Europe to fight. We're sending troops to fuel this escalating conflict. Not a single American life should be put at risk because crooked Joe Biden has been illegally paid off. He's been paid off. He's a corrupt president. And you know what? I would have never said that. I have too much respect for the office of the presidency, and I never said that. I can't say great things about him because he's been a horrible president, but I would never say, but you know what? Now we have to take the gloves off because they took the gloves off, so we take the gloves off. And Europe should be paying their fair share. They're not. They're paying a tiny fraction. We're in for $200 billion. They're in for $22 billion. And it affects them much more than it affects us. Also, last week, two highly credible whistleblowers from the IRS, including a self-described Democrat, testified that the corrupt Department of Justice obstructed the criminal investigation into the Biden's gigantic violations of taxes. The witnesses also stated that they were totally prohibited from investigating the crimes of crooked Joe Biden. They couldn't do it. You know, I took the name away from Hillary. No, I took it away. I took it away because it was the most descriptive, and I don't like doing two. You know, we have enough words in this world. But I took it off Hillary, so now we call her, right? Beautiful, beautiful Hillary. I love beautiful. So beautiful. She's so beautiful. And he's Crooked Joe. We called him Sleepy Joe. We had a number in it. I like Crooked Joe the best because it's probably the most accurate. The Republicans have to do something about this. The biggest complaint I get, and we have some unbelievable congressmen that I'm going to introduce, and they are not the problem. But I have to tell you, congressmen, and you complain about it too, but the biggest complaint that I get is that the Republicans find out this information and then they do nothing about it. They don't do anything about it, right? Kelly knows, he knows. They do. And it all dies, you know, they die. The radical lunatic Democrats, they impeach me, they indict me, they rig our elections, and the Republicans just don't fight the way they're good people, but they don't fight the way they're supposed to fight. The others are dirty, sick players, and the Republicans are very high class. They've got to be a little bit lower class, I suspect. They sit back and they say, they have other priorities. We have to look at other things. Any Republican that doesn't act on Democrat fraud should be immediately primaried and get out. Out. And we have some. You know, you show them the fact, 10 million here, 10 million there. Game. These people are corrupt as hell, and they play a different game. They play a much tougher game of hardball, and the Republicans have to play like these two guys and these three people, actually, four people that we have. They have to play tough. And they have to be, and honestly, and if they're not willing to do it, we got a lot of good, tough Republicans around, and people are going to run against them, and people are going to win, and they're going to get my endorsement every single time, and they're going to win because we win almost every race when we endorse. When we win the election, a little more than a year from now, I will appoint a real special prosecutor to expose the monumental corruption of the Biden crime family once and for all. And unlike the witch hunt that I've been going through ever since we came down that beautiful escalator in Trump Tower, they will be properly prosecuted. I promise you that. They will be looked at. Everything will be very fair, of course. But if they're guilty, I happen to think they must be. Boy, it's a lot of money taken in for people. Took in millions and millions, and then they say they're not. No, they have to be. We have to bring our nation back. We have to bring our borders back. We have to bring our fair elections back. We have to do it right. And they've broken the veil by indicting me with this ridiculous. These are ridiculous indictments. And all they're doing is hoping for massive election interference. That's all they want to do. They want to damage the leading candidate, by the way, leading by far, I have to say. I think if he ever made a comeback, it would be the greatest comeback in political history. He's gone. I endorsed him. He was gone before I endorsed him. I endorsed him. You know that, right? I endorsed him. I said, all right. He came in crying, please, please, you'll do it. I said, you're so far behind, you couldn't win. If George Washington and Abraham Lincoln came back from the dead, you couldn't win. No. Sir, if you endorse me, I'll win. So, you know, he worked on the impeachment hoax #1 and impeachment hoax #2, two of the many hoaxes that I had to go through. But he was just one of many, many guys. These guys worked much harder. Kelly, Muser, they worked much, much harder. Much harder. You guys worked much harder. But he did a little bit. And I didn't know the man he was running against. His name's Adam Putnam, good man. Well, I heard he was a rhino, so I feel a little bit better, but I didn't know him. So I said, let's give it a shot, Ron. And he's down so much, like 30, 40 points. In one night, he is leading by a lot. And we had him get past a guy named Pullum, who was at the time the hottest guy in the Democrat Party. Stacey Abrams being the female version. Stacey Abrams and Pullum. These were the two hottest politicians in the Democrat. Then 3 years later, they say, will you run against the president? Will you run against the president? He says, I have no comment. I said, that means he's running. This son of a bitch is running against me. I got him elected. He's running. So I tell that story, even though all of my wonderful geniuses that we do have a good game. See, I think they do. I think a story like that means something to people, but they say I'm wrong. But so far, the polls have proven, because he has taken a dive like few people have seen before. You know, it's funny, all of his big donors, he had a lot of big donors, and they were all maybe sort of, they don't love me because I'm very much anti-business with China. You know what? I'm a person that puts America first. These people want to put the globe first, right? So they don't love me. But I read stories where, you know, these big rich guys are all guys that I know very well, and they're sort of leaning toward him, and they're going with him, and, you know, this is like 6 months ago. They're going to go with him. I think they're going to go with him because he's a globalist, basically, right? He's a Paul Ryan disciple. Anybody a Paul Ryan disciple, you don't want him, believe me. Guy's a loser. But look, he had to leave because he couldn't have won. He was out. But remember this, when the people, they're all with him. They're all set. They're going with him. We're going with the sanctimonious. And then last week I started getting phone calls, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. Hi, President. I just called to say hello. What are the big donors? Oh, I thought you were with DeSantis. No, weren't you with DeSantis? Sometimes referred to as the sanctimonious. Never referred to as DeSantis. Never. Of course, he did change his name in the middle of the campaign. You know that, right? Are we having fun? What the hell? Right? It's a Saturday afternoon. We have nothing to do. We got these great congressmen that we got to make sure they're in good shape, and they will be. They actually don't need any of my help. They're here because they love me and I love them. They don't need my help, these guys. But, you know, so they call up these rich guys. They call, richer than they are. But they call up, and they say, and I'll put as much money into the campaign as I need. Believe me, if we need to do it, we need to do it. But you know, the money that comes in is the small money. It comes in for us. No Republicans ever had that. Millions of dollars of small money. We're $31. I think it's a $31 to $61 average. And that means people love us. And by the way, those people vote. The rich guys are in the south of France on their yacht. They don't vote. You know, they just give money for obvious reasons. But now I'm getting calls from guys that I read about from 6 months ago. I didn't care. It didn't matter to me. But they were going with him. We're going with you. We think we do. You know, change. They want to change. No, we want to go back to what we had for 4 years. We had something that was so special. One of these guys, Coke. You ever hear of Coke? So Coke, he says, a couple of months ago, he said, I had the best 4 years I've ever had during the Trump administration. I believe I'll be supporting DeSantis. I said, what the hell is that all about? The guy admits. Maybe that's called inheritance. The guy admits he's had the best 4 years he's ever had. He's got his support. But so now they're all calling me, and they go like this, ring, ring, so-and-so's on the phone. Oh, hello. President, I was just calling to say hello. I said, you mean you're just calling to say that you've been looking at the recent poll numbers? That's real. They're not stupid. They see what's happening. So he's lost all of it. I think he's lost every high roller. And they said, what's his problem? I said, he's got no personality. I could have told you that a long time ago. A politician needs a little personality, but I think he's over. And, you know, we just got some polls. We're going to go over the polls in a couple of seconds. Remember when I used to do the polls? Remember? But I only did them when we were doing well. When we were doing poorly, I never talked about polls. I said, what polls? But for the most part, we were always doing pretty well. But I only did, but we have one where Ramaswamy is now leading him in Ohio. Ramaswamy. You know why he's leading him? Because he says Trump's been a great president. I like guys that I'm running against that say I've been a great president. Vote Ramaswamy. So it's been an incredible time, but all of these high rollers are now calling me, sir, I'd love to have dinner with you. I said, you didn't want to have dinner 6, 7 months ago so much, right? But you know you're doing well when all of those guys are calling, and they're not giving him very much. I don't think they're giving him anything. They're giving him a lot of nice talk. Hey, Ron, keep working. You're doing wonderfully. No, last night he had a very bad reception, very, very bad, in a state called Iowa. Very important. First in the nation. We kept it there. I kept it there. You know, I got the farmers, Pennsylvania, Iowa, all over. $28 billion from China. I got the farmers $28 billion, and I made a very bold statement. I said, let me tell you, first of all, I think we're leading in Iowa by 39 points. That's a lot. But I said, before I saw any poll, I said, there's no way I lose Iowa, Nebraska, Pennsylvania's big farm stuff. There's no way I lose any of these states because I got them $28 billion from China. And many of you, if you're a farmer, you can raise your hand because I know you opened up big checks. Who else is going to get you $28 billion? I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. No other president took in 10 cents, nothing. But I got, out of the hundreds of billions of dollars, I went to the Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue. I said, Sonny, let me ask you a question. How much hurt did China put on our great farmers? Comes back 3 days later, sir, it's about $28 billion over a 3-year period. I said, that's okay. We're going to give $28 billion to our farmers. Who the hell else is going to do that? And then you think I'm going to lose? So I said to the fake news back here, I say, I got the farmers $28 billion. Do you think they're going to vote against me? I don't think so. I don't think so. When this battle is over, I'll be back in the White House and the Bidens will have to justify all of the corruption that they've done. They're going to have to do it. They ruined the last. And look at what happened to our country. Look at what happened to our country. They tried to do damage right from the day I came down that escalator. They did damage before your very eyes. Joe Biden
is hard to believe this, because I almost don't believe it's him. I'm telling you. I think it's people that surround him. I don't know. Does he know what the hell is going on? But they're weaponizing. He's weaponizing the people that are around him. He's got people, Lisa Monaco, people in the justice. You know what they do? It's like the old story. Sign here, sir. What am I signing? Sir, it's wonderful for our... Oh, it's okay. They're smart people. They're vicious people. They're Marxists. They're communists. And they're doing things. You know what they do? It's like the old story. Sign here, sir. What am I signing? Sir, it's wonderful for our... Oh, it's okay. Then it turns out to be like, we will defund the police. Sign right here, sir. This is a great thing. You're gonna love it. What does it say? Oh, it has to do with our police department. Oh, that sounds so exciting. Let me sign. Then 2 days later, Biden signs bill to defund the police, you know? Now, to cover up his crimes, they target his political enemies. You see all this stuff, the vicious, bad people. As you know, Biden has ordered his top political opponent to be arrested. I gotta be arrested. They want to arrest me. That's only because we're winning. You know, no, think of it. He wants to be arrested. They never taught me that at the Wharton School of Finance, right in Philadelphia. We didn't have a course on arrest. We didn't have Philadelphia. Great old Philadelphia. I love the city. What, has that city gone to hell or what? Yeah. I used to, when I was going to school there, we could walk down the streets. People would go, they'd have the subs. Right? But now the Biden administration is trying to make it illegal to even question the results or the outcome of an election. If you question the rigged election, you're a conspiracy theorist. They don't want to talk about it because they cheated like nobody's ever cheated. But only a party that cheats in elections would try to make it illegal to question them. They don't want them questioned. You look at Georgia, look at all of the things. In fact, I think on Monday or Tuesday, they're having a meeting, a very big group, a very smart group. They're having a meeting to show that they found a lot of election fraud. If you can't challenge a rigged election, then you don't have free speech. And if you don't have free speech, you don't have a democracy anymore. You have tyranny. You have tyranny. And we've got to get smart and we've got to get tough. We need free and fair elections and we need borders. We need those two things. Just like when they used to say, you know, we built 500 miles of wall. When they used to say about walls, the Democrats, oh, we don't need walls. We'll do it with computers flying in the air, right? Said, no, two things you need always for the next 1,000 years and for the past 5,000 years. Wheels and walls. A wheel and a wall. Every computer changes. Everything's different. You know, you develop a new brand of computer. Within about 2 months, it's obsolete. But a wheel doesn't change and a wall doesn't change. They're two things that work. And it's the same thing with our democracy. We need fair elections. We need borders. We have to stop the invasion of people into our country. And you know who's coming in? Prisoners, people from mental institutions, terrorists are coming into our country, and millions and millions and millions of people. So why didn't the corrupt Marxist prosecutors bring these radical and unjustified charges against me 2.5 years ago? They had 2.5 years. 2.5 years. Nobody even knew they were looking at it. I don't think they were. But they waited 2.5, almost 3 years, so that they could bring them right in the middle of my presidential election, because it's election interference. These are crooked people. Now, this deranged lunatic named Jack Smith, who's been overturned unanimously by the Supreme Court. He's tried to destroy many lives. You ever see the picture of the guy? It's like central casting. Deranged Jack Smith and the DOJ will probably bring another case along with the DA. We have a racist DA in crime-ridden Atlanta. I loved Atlanta. I like Philadelphia. I love Philadelphia. But it's the worst per capita crime city in the whole country. And worse than Chicago. Can you believe what's happened in Chicago? They're all bad, run by Democrats, all bad. Every one of them is horrible. But I love Atlanta, so they have a DA there that doesn't do anything about crime. All she does is focus, let's get Trump, we gotta get him. He made a phone call, it was so perfect, it was so good. This was better than the perfect call I made to Ukraine. He made a phone call. So they've been working on that. But why didn't they bring this 2.5 years ago? Why didn't they bring deranged Jack Smith, January 6th? Why didn't they bring that 2.5 years ago? Said perfect things, peacefully and patriotically. Did you ever hear Maxine Waters and Schumer and these other people talking in their speeches? We will get you, Kavanaugh. We will get you. We will hit you like you've never been hit before, right? You know? That's okay. But if you say peacefully and patriotically, like in my speech, these people are sick, and they are really, they're deranged. And this guy's the most deranged of all. They brought him in. They brought him in because let's get the toughest, most deranged human being that we can find and put him in charge of Trump, because they want to take away our election. We're leading Biden by a lot, and they want to try and demean and hurt us, all of us.